Hello friends, I am Shivaji Bhaskar, Faculty of Russian at the School of Foreign Languages, IGNOU. I welcome you all to this module of the course Basics of Russian Communication Skills Part 1. As you know that we have been discussing about certain concepts of the Russian language, and initially with the help of Russian alphabet we have identified several letters. Then we distinguished them as vowels and consonants and sign. We have also seen that with the combination of certain letters we have a few words which we are using in our communication. Since in the last module we have discussed about the genders of the Russian language, as you know we have masculine, feminine and neuter gender. So as a technique which we discussed last time, we have moi, maya, mayo and mai. In order to have any noun along, for example like druk, padruga, akno, and same is the case with plural. So we will be having certain words with us. Depending on their gender, we will be changing these possessive pronouns. So here you can see we have in the masculine moi drug, tvoi brat, nash gorad and vash karandash. In feminine we have maya padruga, tvaya mama, nasha strana, nasha kniga. Whereas in the neuter we have mayo akno, tvayo akno, nashe zdanye, vashe zdanye. And when we are changing into plural, for example in case of moi, maya, mayo and mai, depending upon the ending of the noun we are changing them into plural. The first case is mai gazete. So gazete is a plural form of gazeta, and gazeta means newspaper, belongs to feminine gender, but while changing into plural it is becoming mai gazete. Now we have another example, tvoi jurnali. Here journal, it is of masculine gender, but when we are changing into plural becomes tvoi jurnali. Likewise we have nashi strany. It's from the word strana, means country, belongs to feminine gender, but while changing them into plural becomes nashi strany. And here you have one example of neuter gender, zdanye. It's changing into vashi zdanya. So here you have to pay attention. While in plural you may find certain endings, like in case of vashi zdanya ending with ya, but it does not belong to feminine gender because it is a plural of a neuter gender word, zdanye. So these are certain concepts which you need to keep in your mind in order to communicate in Russian properly, and my suggestion to you all is to write them down in your notebooks so that you prepare yourself well in advance when we are going to discuss it while having question and answers. So let's go ahead and pay attention to the screen. Here we are going to read the question and answer while paying attention to the intonation. As you know, intonation plays a very important role in the Russian language, because as per the intonation only, you only need to know that whether the person is asking a question or answering the question. So you have interrogative, affirmative. So now we will see that how it works. We have the first one, eta vasha machina. So now I am going to ask a question. So you will see that how the tempo, the sound, the pattern at the end rises. Eta vasha machina, because I am asking a question. So at the end the pitch of the sound is rising. Now I need to answer it. Alright. So what should I do? I can use da eta nasha machina. Да – это моя. Да, моя. Да, это моя машина. Да, наша. Да, это наша машина. So for one answer, you have a variety of expressions. You can use any one of them in order to answer the question. Now let's go to the next part and look at the sentence. Это ваша страна? Да, моя. Да, это моя страна. Да, наша. Да, это наша страна. Likewise, you have the next sentence. Это ваше окно? Да, мое. Да, это мое окно. Да, наше. Да, это наше окно. And likewise, the last one. Это ваш город? Да, мой. Да, это мой город. Да, наш. Да, это наш город. So here you can see, as per the gender of the noun, the question is also being changed. Like we are using ваша for страна, ваше for окно, ваш for город, and in the beginning we have used ваша for машина. Alright, so here we need to pay attention to the ending of the words. So like машина, feminine gender, that is why ваша. Strana, also feminine gender, that is why ваша. Окно, neuter gender, that is why ваше. And город, that is why we have ваш, because it belongs to the masculine gender. So I hope this important aspect is clear to you. Now we will move ahead and go to the next part. Here you will see again we are going to discuss certain possessive pronouns like его, ее, их, which remains unchanged irrespective of the gender of the noun they qualify. What does it mean? Let's pay attention to the sentences we have so that you have a fair idea about them. For example, это его дом, and if you pay attention to the screen, in place of ge there is a change in the sound and sound of ve comes because it is also devoicing. Его дом, это его дом, this is his house. Это ее дом, это ее дом, ее, her, this is her house. Это его подруга, this is his female friend. Это ее подруга, this is her female friend. Это его письмо, this is his letter. Это ее письмо, this is her letter. So here you can see that how его and ее remains unchanged. However, the nouns, whether it is masculine or feminine, it remains in the form as is it. So now we will look at the next part and see that how the use of их can be qualified. Это их дом, this is their house. Это их подруга, this is their female friend. Это их письмо, this is their letter. So here in place of его, ее, we are changing into plural, so their. Alright, so I would also like to suggest you to remember that the presence of vowel sounds ya, ye, yo, you and e shows that the preceding consonant is soft. Let's look at the examples where we can understand. So we have this clarity about these certain sounds which we just did with the example of его, ее, and with certain nouns where we have got the example as per their genders. Now let's pay attention to the certain sounds which are hard and soft. They belong to the hard and soft consonants. That is why we will see the examples first, where it is a combination of consonants plus vowels like la, la, ta, cha, da, ja, na, nya. Let's go ahead and look at a few more examples. Lo, lyo, to, cho, do, jo, no, nyo. Alright, here you have seen that how the sound of these consonants when combined together with vowels are changing. Now let's go ahead and look at a few more such combinations. In this part, you can see that how the sound of consonants are changing. Now let's go ahead. Here you have l, li, p, chi, d, ji, mu and ni. Okay, let's go ahead and see a few more examples. Okay, now let's pay attention to this combination of consonant and vowels. We have lu, liu, tu, chu, du, ju, nu, new. Okay, now let's go ahead. Here we have seen that how the sound of lu, li, tu, chi, du, di, mu and ni are coming. So this is an important exercise we do in order to make you understand that how the sound of hard consonants are being used when combined with vowels. Alright, let's go ahead and see a few more examples. Le, le, che, te, de, je, ne, ni. Okay, now let's go ahead, and here we have certain words where these consonants are being used, and you can pay attention to the pronunciation of these particular words in order to identify the letter individually and when it is being used in these words. So the first word is text, then tiocha, karchina and devushka. So now let's learn the meaning of these words. Text means text, tiocha means aunt, karchina means picture, and devushka means girl. Now we have a few more words with us like jechi, dedushka, India, radio. Here you can also see that these words are having udareniye or the stress sign on a particular vowel. That is why the pronunciation of these words are coming like this. So now let's learn the meaning of these words. Jechi means children, Jedushka means grandfather, India means India, and radio means radio. If you remember that in the previous part we have also done certain words which have an equivalent. For example, like babushka. Babushka means grandmother. So we have Jedushka means grandfather. So that is why these kind of vocabulary which we are doing is very important, where you can use these words like babushka, Jedushka, brat, sistra, mama, papa, in order to make a very small text where you can write about your family. And as we say, family is semya in Russian. We shall also be discussing about them in our upcoming modules, but before that let's cover certain other concepts. Alright, now we have certain other words with us. We shall be discussing about them as well, and let's pay attention to the position of udareni on certain vowels and pay attention to the pronunciation of these specific words. Confieta, firma, philosopher, professor, alphabet. So here you can see that udareni or the stress sign is falling onto a vowel, and that is why the sound of that particular vowel is higher and the rest, and the pronunciation is coming. Let's also learn about their meaning. Confiata means toffee, firma means firm, philosopher means philosopher, professor means professor, and alphabet means alphabet. Alright, let's go ahead and look at these new words once again. Before we do and understand the meaning of these new words, I would like to recommend you all to note these words in your notebook so that you can also prepare your small vocabulary and you can use these new words and expression in your own simple sentences. So now let's pay attention to these new words. Dialogue, stagion, agin, divan, diadia, gijia, nigelia. So the first one is dialogue, means dialogue. Then stagion means stadium. Agin means one. Divan means sofa. Jaja means uncle. Gijia means where, and nigelia means week. If you pay attention to this particular list of words, we also have jaja, and in the previous part we had cheocha. So cheocha means aunt and jaja means uncle. You can also add this into the list of relatives, and you can also talk about your family and use these two new words. Alright, let's go ahead and look at these new words. We have niyat, niaba, miod, mitro, miesta. These are certain other words which you have just seen, that some of the words like niyat can also be used very oftenly, especially with da. Da means yes, niyat means no. For example, you can use in any day-to-day communication niyat for saying no. Niaba, which is the second word, means sky. Meod means honey. Miesta means place, and mitro means metro. Here you can also see that some of the words which have been borrowed from many other languages of the world are being used in Russian. Such is the case of the letter and the word where we have mitro. So mitro, which means metro, is a borrowed word. Alright, now let's go ahead and look at these new words. We have ani, kniga, mir, and myasa. So ani means they, kniga means book, mir means world. It can also be used as peace depending upon the context, and myasa means meat. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at some of the very important words which we use in our day-to-day communication. Abed means lunch. Beli means white. Aspirant means research scholar. Literatura means literature. Vecher means wind. Vilka means folk. Atviet means answer. Kvartira means flat, and biblioteca means library. So some of the words like biblioteca, universitet, aspirant, class, urok, auditoria, школа, ручка, карандаш, бумага, портфель. These are certain words which can also be used if we talk about our school or university. We shall be having a very long discussion about such other text where we will be having situation based dialogues in a dedicated module. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at a few more such words which are used in our day-to-day communication. The words are, the first one, лето, лес, билет, или, слева, самолет, летом, далеко, недалеко, рядом, легко, and села. Let's learn the meaning of these words now. Лето means summer, лес means forest, билет means ticket, или means or, слева means on the left. If you remember, in the previous module we have done sprava, means on the right. So you also learning about the directions. So please remember, and for convenience please note them down in your notebook and use them in your own sentences. So the next one is самолет. Самолет means aircraft. Летом, which means in the summer. Далеко means far, недалеко means not far. Рядом, it's nearby. Легко means easy, and села means village. However, for village we also use a word деревня. So you can have sela as well as деревня for village. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at these new words. We have вечер, весна, мясо, мясное, театр, литература, or памятник and стена. So in these words we have вечер, весна, мясо, мясной. Here we have мясо and мясной. Мясо is a noun, мясной is an adjective. Theater, theater, it's a very famous and important word, means theater. You must have heard about Bolshoi theater, the Bolshoi theater in Moscow. So you will also be learning about these important buildings in your dedicated modules. Till then, you can also keep them in your notebooks and use them in your sentences. Literatura and памятник and стена. So let's go ahead and look at a few more such important concepts. Now we are going to talk about endings. So first let's pronounce the endings of certain other important words, adjectives, nouns, verbs, etc. So we have the ending of the nouns, endings of the verbs, and endings of certain other concepts. The ending is a, te and soft sign, e, te and soft sign, ye, te and soft sign, ach, ich, h. Now let's listen and pronounce and compare these different sounds. Толка, сколько, брат, братья, Ольга, долго, друг, друзья. Alright, this exercise is specially done in the case so that you prepare yourself in advance for certain other different combinations of sounds and you pronounce it properly when we are going to conjugate the Russian verbs. Now let's go ahead and look at certain words first. We have words like Slavar, Chitraj, Mach, Statya and Pamch. Let's learn the meaning of these new words. Slavar means dictionary. Chitraj means notebook. Mach means mother. Statya means article, and pamich means memory. Alright, now let's go ahead and look at these new words. Портфель, писатель, преподаватель, соль, рубль, гость. Here, now let's learn the meaning of these new words. Портфель means briefcase. Писатель means writer. Преподаватель means teacher, lecturer, professor. You can use for преподаватель. However, in Russian we have specific terms for teacher, учитель. For professor we use professor. We can also use преподаватель. Sol for salt. Ruble is very important term. It means ruble, the Russian currency, which you will use if you go to Russia. And goist, which means guest. So I would like to recommend you all to use these different letters, different words and certain other combinations which we have just used in your day-to-day communication, not only to understand it properly but use it in actual terms with your family and friends so that you have a good grip over the language. I would also like you to look into the Russian dictionary, the meaning of the words as well as their gender, and use with adjectives. This exercise is going to help you a lot in order to have certain level of confidence for communicating in Russian day to day. Alright, now let's go ahead and look at a few expressions. As you know that it is very important in Russian to communicate in that particular language so that whenever you are having greetings or you are talking to a Russian, they should understand properly. So we have certain expressions with us like Добрый день, каждый день, познакомьтесь, большое спасибо. So when we say good afternoon or good day, we say Добрый день. When we say every day, we use the expression каждый день. When we say meet, let me introduce you to, познакомьтесь, давайте познакомьтесь. And when you say thank you very much or thank you so much, you say большое спасибо. Okay, that is why if you pay attention to the ending добрый день, день masculine gender, that is why the ending of добрый is и кратки. Likewise in каждый день and in большое спасибо, because спасибо ends with o, that is why the ending of большое is ending with ye. Okay, you will be learning precisely how to identify and use these concepts in your upcoming modules, and for the time being I would like to recommend you all to note them down in your notebooks so you have a fair idea about the greetings in Russian. Alright, now let's go ahead and understand the meaning of certain other words. Объявление, объект. So объявление means announcement and объект means object. As you remember that in Russian we have two signs. The one is hard sign, the second one is soft sign. Here you can see hard sign has been used in both the words объявление and объект. Okay, so for certain letters you can also note these words down, and you can also find out many other such words in the dictionary. Alright, now let's go ahead and look at a few new Russian words and expressions. We have пальто, только, сколько, правильно, культура. So пальто, it ending with o. So all these words except kultura are ending with o. So you can use a neuter gender adjective with пальто. Okay, so большое пальто, big overcoat. So before that, let's learn the meaning of these words first and then discuss about them further. We have пальто means overcoat, только means only, сколько means how much, правильно means correct, and kultura which means culture. So accordingly you can also make your sentences depending upon the noun and its ending. Okay, now let's go ahead. Here we have certain other words with us like внимательно, film, большой, письмо and друзья. Now let's learn the meaning of these words. Vani chelna means carefully. Film means film. And if you want to say movie, then we need to say kinofilm. Большой means big. As you know that this is an adjective, you can use it with any noun which belongs to the masculine gender, like большой дом. So accordingly you have to identify this word where it will fit. Then we have pismo means letter. Then we have druzia, and as you know that pismo means letter and druzia means friends. So in case of druzia, I would like to tell you that this is a plural of drug. Drug means friend. So with the help of these certain words which we have done in this module, I would like to suggest you all to make a list of such words so that you can use them in your own simple sentences. We will be discussing about many such other concepts in our next module. Thank you.